Hi, I'm John Rabe from D. James Kennedy Ministries, and I am joined by our President and Chief Executive Officer, Dr. Frank Wright. Frank, normally when we meet together, it's because we have some exciting news to share. We do have news to share, but unfortunately it's disappointing news, isn't it?
It's very disappointing, John, and it's very significant and has a great deal of import as it relates to not just this media ministry, but the future of free speech, the future of free exercise of religion in America, even the future of constitutional governance, you might argue. We were just recently notified, John, that Lifetime, our cable channel that has given us nationwide coverage for the last 3 years, is refusing to air programs that we have produced, the same kinds of programs we've produced for the last 3 years, refusing to air them and giving us a directive that we can no longer deal with any controversial subjects. Abortion. They complained about our abortion special. They wouldn't air a special on George Soros. They even refused a special on the life of George Washington, the spiritual life of George Washington. And so after discussing with the folks at Lifetime, we've decided we can't continue in this relationship, so we are now off of Lifetime, effective immediately, and we need to take some quick steps to reconstitute this portion of our platform that's been lost. Because Lifetime is on every cable system in America. 105 or 110 million households have access to Lifetime. And by losing that, we lose an enormous platform. We lose, as what Dr. Kennedy used to call, a big part of our megaphone of being able to get truth out into the culture. And these are very, very discouraging times because we see this, I know that you do as well, we see this as part of the broader cancel culture, don't we?
We do, and this is unfortunately happening around the Christian world, around the conservative world, where more and more people who hold just traditional biblical views as we do are being deplatformed or losing their megaphones, are being sort of exiled from the public square, mostly by corporations and private companies. It has turned out not to be the government that's been the problem. It's been woke corporations, so to speak. You point out something interesting, though. We were airing these programs on Lifetime for several years without any complaint. Suddenly, everything that we sent them, they wanted to complain about, including a George Soros special that they already aired in October, but would not air again in January, or in February. So we have a difficulty facing us now, though, don't we? It's a difficulty and an opportunity because Lifetime, which as you pointed out is available everywhere. You don't have to tell people where to find the Lifetime channel. Right. It's in the top tier of basic cable. We were able to broadcast gospel messages on that platform and biblical truth to the entire nation, including many people happening along who were not believers. We have now a task, a challenge ahead of us, don't we, to replace that broadcast footprint?
We do. Ideally, it would be another opportunity on cable television with a national broadcast presence as well. The difficulty there is, this is sort of the second part of the bad news here, is in the last 3 or 4 weeks, major cable networks have completely eliminated their entire religious block of programming.
Including conservative ones.
Including conservative networks. And so we think that's being done from a standpoint of fear, advertisers complaining, whatever it might be. But in any event, we were the only nationwide carriage, only program doing the kind of programming that we produce, applying biblical truths to the great moral, ethical, and cultural questions of our day. And now we are off of a broadcast platform that gave us nationwide presence. If we are unable to replace that, it will be a significant loss of impact into the culture. Here's the other piece too, John, that's somewhat difficult. Lifetime, as expensive as that channel was for us, in order for us to go market by market and buy a television presence, it's probably going to cost us close to twice what we're paying on Lifetime now, or we're paying on Lifetime. So we've lost our platform, and the cost of replacing it is going to be amazingly difficult for us to manage. We do not have the resources to go out and syndicate market by market a television program that is going to cost twice what we're paying now.
And so we will need to explain what we're going to do about that. But it's important to note as well, Frank, that we could perhaps keep our program on Lifetime or somewhere else if we were willing to water it down to the point of not saying anything. Our ministry motto is standing for truth, defending your freedom. We can't water down our message if we're going to be faithful to that, can we?
Well, it would be pointless, wouldn't it? We wouldn't be a voice of transformation in the culture. We wouldn't have an opportunity to let the truth of God's Word be brought to bear on the great moral questions of the day so that people will understand what a biblical perspective it is and compare it to the secular culture. It would be pointless to continue to even try to air some kind of a milquetoast program in which you can say everything and nothing of significance. And so this is a great concern in terms of our immediate effect, but it also has a longer-term potential to be difficult as well. The cancel culture doesn't just take away your broadcast platform. More and more, they've been taking away financial services. They've been taking away access to credit card payments systems. They've been taking away YouTube. A good friend of mine, Dr. Sammy Rodriguez, who heads the National Hispanic Coalition, had over 500 videos on YouTube, all shut off in one day, and no other platform to put them on. So we're seeing the emergence of what we have anticipated for a long time. We're all a bit stunned by how quickly and the breadth of the action, and the fact that the folks at Lifetime apparently have no fear whatsoever in doing something like this. Now, what's changed in the last 90 days? Well, there's a different Justice Department in Washington, D.C. than there was. And the Biden administration has demonstrated an unwillingness to defend religious free speech. In fact, taken steps against it in many cases, especially people that populate cabinet-level offices in the Biden administration. You can trace their activities back to their home states where they have taken positions against a biblical perspective. And even things like our lawsuit with the Southern Poverty Law Center. All of these things together are representing a new and if people didn't understand it before, the spiritual dimension of the warfare with which we are engaged is fully on view. We say with maybe too quickly sometimes that we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities in the heavenlies. We know it's a spiritual battle. But I can tell you this, Satan could care less about taking conservative speech off of television. Satan cares a great deal about taking the gospel off of television. So we are at a critical turning point, maybe even a hinge point to this date anyway, in our culture. And we're going to have our partners stand with us to do everything we can to ensure that the truth continues to go out, that we're not going to succumb to this censorship, for that's what it is. It's just viewpoint discrimination, and it's Big Brother telling you what your programs can look like. Oh, sure, we'll still carry your program and charge you a fortune to broadcast, Sunday school lessons to 5-year-olds. But you know what? 5 years down the road, they won't even allow that. They won't even allow the perception that for us to make the case that the Bible represents truth and stands against the falsehood of the culture. This is all coming to a boil, and we really need to take some quick steps.
And if we don't stand now, there may not be an opportunity to stand later. So this is really the time to plant the flag. Frank, if you would, talk directly to our friends and tell them what it is that we are asking for from them at this moment in our time.
John, I'm happy to do that. We're blessed to have partners in the gospel that have made this ministry able to do what we've done for the last 45 years. And we've never been able to do it without you. We've always known that. But we're at a time now when we need you to help us even keep the viability of Christian television alive. The cancel culture is in high gear and coming after us, and we're going to need your help. I'm going to ask you to do 3 things. Well, let me say something first. You watch our programs and you see our printed materials and you see our newsletters and so on. You know that our tagline for the ministry, our motto has been standing for truth and defending your freedom. So let me say and be clear about this. In the face of all of this, we are going to continue to stand for truth and defend freedom, and we will not cave to the cancel culture. We need you, though, to help us by doing 3 things. The first is, as I just mentioned to John, This is a spiritual battle, and we need to go before the Lord in prayer and ask Him to intervene. You know, if the Lord rises up, Satan flees. Satan disappears like the dew before the rising sun when the Lord of glory stands up. We need Him to come and be our defender. I actually am optimistic today that the Lord, having seen this door close, is going to open a window or another door or a better opportunity, because we're being faithful to His Word. God, the Scripture makes one thing clear: God prospers His Word. And so we need to pray, and we need you to pray fervently, diligently, faithfully. And I know you've prayed for this ministry before, and we need to pray about the future of the gospel, the future of biblical truth in the culture. Secondly, we really need the funds necessary to reconstitute our platform. We are already making contacts, talking to brokers, talking directly to television stations, talking to other networks. We're looking at every opportunity to reconstitute our platform, but it's going to take a lot more money than we're spending now, a lot more money than we have available to us now. So as God leads you, if you're able to give a generous gift at this time, specifically towards this effort, it would be an amazing blessing. And third, I want to point you to the one place where you can continue to get our programs. Lifetime was not our whole platform. We have other outlets, and so we're continuing to produce our Truths That Transform broadcasts, our Coral Ridge Hour television program on DirecTV. We're going to continue to do that, and you can continue to find it. You need to come to our website, djkm.org, and if you'll put /TV, that'll take you to the current program. So you can watch every week the programming that Lifetime doesn't want you to see, and that many other networks that we could mention are refusing to carry because they are feeling the pressure of the woke culture and are caving under that pressure. And rather than deal with controversy, they want to just get rid of it. We're the controversy in their view. And so we need you to pray. We need you to give as God leads you and enables you to do so. And we need you to remember our website. It's a robust platform of all of our media resources. You can also access our print resources. You can get them there. And so djkm.org/TV. And if you'll do those three things, and if we will together pray expectantly for God to answer, I believe we're going to see the mighty hand of God move in such a way that we can continue to speak truth into a culture that is dying for the lack of truth. And with your help, we can do these things. John, thanks for being with me today and talking about this difficult subject. It affects us in a score of ways beyond the discussion that we've had today, but we're committed to continue doing what God's called us to do.
Thank you, Frank. Great difficulties also present great opportunities, and we are excited, even in this difficult period, to see what the Lord's going to do. His kingdom is not thwarted by the decision of television executives, and we expect His blessing even here now with the help of our viewers. Thank you, Frank.
Thanks, John.